Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. We are here live ahead of blank game week 34. Unfortunately, I'm not on a free hit this game week, but I am here to help you guys out with, of course, your teams, any transfers you're planning, of course, any free hit picks. You maybe want a differential, maybe you want to know what the template is for this week, maybe you want to know what my model is suggesting. Well, don't worry, like I said, I've got you covered despite not being on the free hit myself. I definitely think we have a fairly decent team heading into this game week. Of course, I've got 2 free transfers. There are a few moves that I might potentially make heading into this week, and we'll, of course, talk through those moves. But yeah, if you want to enjoy on any of the content, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting subscribe as well on that road to 30,000 subscribers. And it is only possible with your amazing support. Get your questions in nice and early. Get your votes in for the poll as well for the best captain for this game week. And of course, make sure you're getting yourself into the FPL Cartel. That is where we do all of team reviews from now on. They're all in the FPL Cartel, and there's plenty of other amazing features that come with that as well. Looking in the chat, we've got Baller _8 who says Bruno captain. I think that's pretty much going to be a fairly common theme throughout a lot of people's teams, isn't it, really? Big up, Tom. Would you go for Simmons over Rice or Rodgers on a free hit? I think Xavi Simmons could be a really exciting pick this game week. I think Rice is quite popular because he just does get points. That's all he does, isn't it, really? He just does tick along and does get points. So, it could be a nice option to, of course, consider Declan Rice this week. But he isn't the most exciting pick. I do believe there's more kind of, upside in like a Simmons or a Rodgers. Those could be, bigger haul players. But at the same time, Declan Rice could easily outscore them by just hitting DEFCON very easily. Any planned transfers? Yeah, like I said, we will talk about the planned moves that I potentially got lined up. There are a few different scenarios that we have thought about. Like I said, I've got 2 free transfers this week. We could be very aggressive and use both of them. We could end up using none and kind of hope that we get through this week and not have the best free hit side. Content providers are all busy posting free hit teams in game week 34, but I'm yet to see one team for those who aren't on a free hit and wildcard. Yeah, I can help you with a wildcard. Don't worry about that. I can help you definitely plan out a wildcard for this week. AR Hoop Zone. Portugal's Bruno will become the star. There you go. Crystal Palace, Dublin in 36. Potentially, it could also be Bournemouth. And if Bournemouth goes into 36, they will still play City. Then they will blank in 37. And then Palace will double in 37, if that makes sense. There you go. If you had a free hit, what would your starting 11 look like? So I think I'd still have Bowen. I'd still have Bruno Fernandes. I definitely would still have Gabriel. Probably would also still have Raya. And then I reckon I probably would have like Mook ahead of Alderente. I'd probably have Ped Porro. I realistically would. Who else would I have in there? I mean, you could still keep Thiago, or you're probably looking at like a Solanke, a Watkins realistically as well, a Xavi Simmons, a Rice, a Rodgers, and a Dye. Like, there's so many great picks this week, isn't there? It really is, quite an open week. Szoboszlai as well could also be a pretty decent pick as well. Hi, Tom. Can't decide on a free hit front three if I need to swap Thiago for any of Watkins, Slanky, Bowen to cover non-free hitters. I think non-free hitters are probably going to have Bowen, Thiago, right? That's probably what non-free hitters like myself are realistically going to be lining up with this week. Now, Thiago, that isn't the easiest fixture, but could very easily do something. And I feel like you probably shouldn't be worried about what us non-free hitters are doing and try and gain your own advantage of that. I realistically think some of the best drafts are just 2 or 1 forward this game week. I think the midfield area, you really can bump out. There's some amazing value picks this week. So I personally, for me, would probably suggest just winging it a little bit and going without a Thiago, for example. I probably would just go a Bowen, maybe a Watkins because he's going to be a differential on the free hit strategy, or a Solanke for that exact same reason. That's where I would go anyway with it. Like I said, guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, make sure you hit that like button. It is always appreciated. Obviously, we're nice and early ahead of this evening's deadline with a juicy tie between Sunderland and Nottingham Forest. Should be a good one. Obviously, we've got Alderente so far in that one. We've got, obviously, Elliot Anderson as well. Another pick for this game week. So, yeah, I'm feeling feeling pretty good. Like I said, I do have some plans coming up, so we'll talk through those in today's stream as well. Obviously, like I said, if you want to get your team rated by me, especially if you're on the free hit for this game week, the FPL Cartel is the place to come and do that. Link is in the description for that one as well. But yeah, do keep your questions coming in. Anything you want to ask me ahead of the deadline, I am here to help you out. And of course, give you any recommendations, especially free hit wise as well, because I know a lot of you are on that chip this week. I was looking at Opta stats for Manchester United mids. Can't believe Casemiro has much better mins, goals, and assists over both Cunha and Mbeumo. Yeah, he's been absolutely ridiculous, hasn't he, this season? Obviously can hit the defensive contributions as well. A lot of his goals have come from set play situations, though, so do be wary of that kind of fact. It's not a lot of open play stuff, but then again, that's kind of been the premise throughout the course of this season, hasn't it, really? That has kind of been the theme throughout this season, really. Let's talk through then. Should we do my transfers? Yeah, go on. Let's do my transfers. So these are the moves that I'm making. Obviously, I'm not on a free hit this game week, so I do have to play things a little bit differently. And this is what I'm currently thinking in terms of transfers. So we could leave it. We could roll. We'll end up with 3 next game week. That would probably give us enough time as well to assess what is happening with the Bournemouth game. And we'd have then 3 free transfers to really attack whatever double is going to come out of the other side of that, right? That's a very plausible strategy that we could go for. Option number 1 is we drop Semenyo. He's been pretty poor in recent weeks. We drop him. We go for like a Rice this game week. We go like that. Simple, effective. It also then means that Richards drops to the bench and we've at least got a little bit of bench cover if Sarr or Cunha, for whatever reason, decide that they're not getting any minutes. Then we've got a little bit of bench covers. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is one that I'm really leaning towards, and it's getting rid of Sarr. Again, we don't know what his minutes are going to be like. I think that he will start this game. I do think that he'll start the Liverpool game. However, it would not shock me if there is an early substitution with European games in mind, right? So at that same time, I'm thinking, well, if we get rid of Rice, we've got 2 options here. We'd either go probably and die. Everton have got a nice fixture next week. He'll end up on the bench regardless next week anyway. Then in game week 36, when we're going to double, he's got Palace away. So that's a fine fixture, right? Or this is the rogue shout, right? This is the rogue shout. Or we go Bruno Guimaraes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bruno Guimaraes, what a rogue pick. He's got Arsenal, right? 100% agree. And if you look at Newcastle's recent form, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Palace, lost to Sunderland. There's been some poor performances in here, no doubt in my mind, right? But in 28 minutes, he managed to acquire 0.36 XGI, okay? Arsenal are looking a little bit ropey at the moment, especially defensively. They are looking a little bit shoddy. The fixtures for the remainder of the season: Brighton at home, great fixture. Forest away, who are fighting for their lives. West Ham at home as well, who are also fighting for their lives. And Fulham on the final day. So some nice fixtures in there to go for, right? He's also, because Anthony Gordon is going to miss this game, will have the penalty takers. He also takes set pieces and can hit defensive contributions. So that is kind of where I'm at. And this is kind of what I would like to do in terms of team and potential transfers. Now, I'm probably going to need someone to talk me down off a ledge from doing this, because Sarr has a great record against Liverpool, especially at Anfield as well. He's got a fantastic record. But these are the moves that I've potentially got lined up for this game week. Now, it would mean then that I would have 4 players in the Arsenal-Newcastle game, which isn't, again, the most ideal, considering everybody else on free hit is going to be, obviously loaded into the Liverpool game. Also probably going to be loaded into that Spurs game as well. So, again, doesn't feel like the most ideal scenario, but that is currently where my head is at, right? Is to use the 2 free transfers, and then we'll head into game week 35, and Manchester United have Liverpool, and I would then remove Cunha to bring in Cherki for the double for Manchester City in 36. Because like I said, Semenyo hasn't been performing. He's not been that guy in recent weeks. Whereas Cherki has definitely started to step up to the mark. His minutes have been decent as well. His points per game are also pretty good and could have come away with a mega haul in the game against Burnley. So that is where I'm kind of thinking in terms of my plan for this week. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments section. And yeah, we'll go from there. What we got in the chat? Best long-term goalkeeper option, as I don't have a free hit or a wild card left. I mean, Palace are going to double at some point, so Henderson is probably the go-to one I'd go for. No, Cunha's not out. He's like apparently had a recovery day, but then nothing was brought up in the press conference yesterday. So that's all we've got on that one. Or am I on wildcard 35? No, I wildcarded in 32, but with a different strategy in mind that so far hasn't really worked. I feel like if you get rid of Saw, you'd want a player with a good fixture this week. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because again, like Bruno could just come away with DEFCON out of that game. And like I said, if he's got penalty share for this fixture, that could be enough, right? That genuinely could be enough. Is Solanke overhyped this game week? I probably would say so a little bit, yes. Like, he's not really done anything this season, but Wolves are dreadful, and they are a team to target. This is a must-win as well for Spurs. Gordon or Munoz this week, Tom? I mean, Gordon is out injured, so I wouldn't be going anywhere near him. Thoughts on 5 at the back on a free hit over the likes of Gakpo, Wirtz and Watkins. I don't hate it. I went 5 back last week. We scored 101 points. We were targeting those defensive contributions. And at one point, we were on for a mega green as well. Oh, mate, it's not gone well for me. It's not gone well for me over that period. I especially feel because the template strategy really did cook, didn't it? Making a defender change, wildcard next game week. Best punt to replace Chow. Probably is going to be someone in that Wolves-Tottenham game then, isn't it? Porro, maybe Mavropanos. It's probably about it. Let's have a look. I know he's got an all right strike rate, like middle 20s. Let's have a look. I need to go to the bottom so I can see across his DEFCON. He got 4 in 28 minutes. The last full game he played, he hit it, then hit 10, then was out injured again. Then 11, 10, 6, 9, 11. So it's occasional. It's not like every single week like some other players, but there are definitely spurts where he does do it. He does do it. Only got 2 points earlier in the season against Arsenal, but we'll let that one slide. Would you go Casemiro changing for Gross? I mean, the thing with Gross is, right, they've got a good fixture next week. So, again, can you get by with maybe benching him this week? Oh, 100%. Newcastle are a far better team. And for points per game, Bruno G is right up there. Genuinely one of the best options you can go for points per game this season. Wilson or Xavi? Also thoughts on Arsenal triple defense. I don't mind being positive covariant, and if you want to go triple Arsenal defense, I really don't mind it. They've got the best clean sheet odds for this game week as well. So yeah, it could be a strategy where you get gains out of it. Because like I said, realistically, I feel like everybody's got Gabriel in their free hit teams. Most people have probably got a second Arsenal defender from some of the teams I've seen as well. So I think realistically, yeah, having 3 might be the option to potentially look at. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. 95k rank, very well done. Going for Mavropanos, Keane, Garner, and Bowen on the free hit. Corners and Rama. Yeah, I mean, look, it can work, can't it? It can work. Those guys that have the set piece share, have the defensive contributions as well. So hopefully, man, it does work as well. People love the Bruno G pick, by the way. Yeah, I'm liking it. I am liking it. It would be a bit different for me. And yeah, it is. It's kind of one of those, isn't it, where it's taking out Saar, and that's the thing that concerns me, is Saar could do quite well. It also then means we're taking on a very highly owned Semenyo next week and into the double game week. But given his recent form, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world, because we're going to get Cherky and Cunha next week anyway. So yeah, that's kind of where my head is at currently with that one. Yeah, it might be one for the coin a bit later. Might be one for the coin a little bit later to decide what we actually do. Do we go Rice? Do we bring in Bruno G? it's kind of one of those, isn't it, where we've got to figure it out. Obviously, do let me know what your plans are for this game week, guys. I know a lot of you are going to be on free hits, so if you do want your free hit rated by me, come over to the FPL Cartel. This is where we do all of our team ratings. Afternoon, Tom. Would Mavropanos and Salah or Van Dijk and Szoboszlai? Not sure about Van Dijk with Madavashvili out. Apparently, Alisson could be back. Yeah, apparently Alisson could be back. I really wanted Bruno G for my wildcard in 32. Honestly, I was in the exact same position. I really was in the exact same position. Yeah. Oh, mate, that is a stinker. I mean, it's not the worst red arrow you could have had. I definitely feel like you could have had a bigger red arrow. How many points did I get last week? We got 101 in the end on the free hit, which I don't think is too bad. We should have probably just gone template route for the bench. And rather than having Vifa there, we would have had Gross. If that was the case, we would have had a mega great green arrow. So yeah, that's where we realistically would be. Am I using another free hit this week? I am not using another free hit this week. No, mate. I'm really not. Yeah, Rice is a decent pickup as well for the rest of the season. Like I said, Saw could go off this week, but longer term, I am worried about him because Europe will be kicking in. Even if Palace get the double in 36, I don't think longer term he's going to be a player that I feel 100% confident in. So, you know, maybe I just pull the trigger this week and go, well, that's it. So, yeah. Looks like we've had a team sent in, so we are going to go and give that a cheeky little review. Of course, like I said, guys, if you want to get your team reviewed by me, head over to the FPL Cartel Discord. This is obviously where you can get your team reviewed by myself or Golden Goal Fantasy Football as well. We've got Ben. He says, free hit draft, debating in Buemo instead of someone. Thoughts? I mean, I like the team. I do think the team is pretty decent. Minimal bench cover, but I'm guessing budget is a little bit stretched. I do like the team. I think instead of Gakpo, I would be more tempted with Szoboszlai, given obviously the set-piece situations that he does have under his locker. Again, I think Thiago could be a player that you could very easily go without this week. You know, you could go Solanke, you could go Watkins, you could just drop him all together and go like completely cheap on the bench, Beto, and maybe get another defender in there as well. A Sunderland defender potentially, or maybe a second Spurs defender if you want to go like really positive covariant, or you could get rid of Rice and go free at the back as well. That could be an option. Personally, for me, I am not feeling Mbuemo or Cunha like this week. I'm personally not feeling either of those guys. So, yeah, I think it's a very good team. I would be happy to have this as my team for this game week. The problem is you've got very minimal coverage for the bench if anybody does miss out for whatever reason. Would be the first port of call. So yeah, maybe I don't know how much money you've got left on the bench, but that would be something that I'd maybe be looking to potentially do with this side as well. Keenan has sent in his free hit as well. He says, potential free hit. Let's take a look at this. Roofs, Mook, Williams, Alderente, Tark, Virgil. We've got Bruno, Anderson, Gibbs, White, double Forest midfield. Okay. Wilson, Rogers, and then up front he's got Thiago, Bowen, Watkins. What formation are you playing with this? Obviously taking on one of the big, I think, free hit players this week in Mohamed Salah. Okay. I think as well you are going triple Sunderland defence and then playing Gibbs White against them. So again, what outcome are you really hoping for there? If you're playing all three of the defenders, I feel like you're probably wanting the clean sheet more than the Gibbs White return or an Anderson return. So I think some of the side is a little bit contradictory to itself. And that would be where my concern would be. Same goes with, obviously, you've got Bowen and Tarkowski. Again, what result would you be hoping for there? So, again, I think probably this one needs a little bit of work. I think, for me, not having Salah is probably, I think he would be one of the key components I realistically would be looking at heading into this week. So, yeah, that's personally for me where I feel like some of the side is just a little bit contradictory. So maybe just needs a little bit more of a further look and kind of balancing out the side a little bit as well. Jake81 has sent his team in as well. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get yourself involved in this and obviously get your team reviewed by me, we are doing them over in the FPL Cartel Discord. Let me get the link for you. So you can come and join us. Obviously, there's plenty of other amazing features as well in there. Not just, not just team ratings on deadlines. We've obviously got my model, which we'll showcase in a second. You can ask us questions throughout all the week and stuff like that. So Jake has gone for a 4-4-2 here. He's going for the double up in terms of Arsenal defenders. Ballard in there as well. The Defcon Beast, Mavropanos, Virgil, Salah, Bruno, Sobo, Xavi, Bowen, and Solanke. It is a very, very good side. Honestly, I really do like this free hit side when you send it in. Yeah, big fan of that one. Big fan of that one. What's going off in the chat then? Let's have a look. I can see Jamie's in here. And I know he's probably going to be a bit smug after last week, right? You're going to be a little bit smug, aren't you, Jamie? He pretty much said, don't go with Palmer, and was 100% correct on it. This week, he is saying, don't go Salah. Okay, there you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. My thoughts on Saul. Will he start or not? I think he starts the game. I don't know how many minutes he realistically sees. So that's probably my concern. And that is why I'm potentially looking at replacing him. Potentially. Long-term replacement for Dango. Have 5.1 million in the bank after removing Dango. Have Rice, Rogers, Wilson, and Bruno Fernandes. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall could be a great pick if you've only got 5.1 million in the bank. Oh, no, you're saying and in the bank. But yeah, some Everton midfielders, a nice fixture this game week, could potentially be worth having a little bit of a look at. Dominic Szoboszlai, potentially. Like, they're the names that would be springing to my mind instantly off the back of that as well. I need to get a shot of Stack, Hill, and Pedro. I have free transfers. Any suggestions? Well, Hill you might want to hold on to in case Bournemouth do get a double in 36. So I probably wouldn't recommend getting rid of him. I think realistically, I probably would be, again, maybe not tempted to sell João Pedro. They've got Nottingham Forest after that with a new manager bounce. It probably is Stack that would be the one that I maybe would be tempted to get rid of. So yeah. I've done the same strategy as you. Dilemma, though, Watkins or Bowen? Bowen, 100% for me. Hello, Tom. Why haven't you put Gabriel as captain to vote according to FFH? He should be there. He's there. On the poll, we've got Bruno, Salah, Gabriel, and other. So he is there, yes. While so many people overlooking Casemiro, he is so underrated. What makes people not consider him? I just don't think he's like the traditional FPL pick, right? So people like me who've been playing the game for years, and I think a lot of other content creators have definitely fallen into this trap this year, is looking at picks that just, you know, aren't traditionally what we would be expecting, those DM types to get us points. Whereas, you know, they are good picks. They realistically are good picks. So yeah. If someone gets points, it doesn't matter. Why is Szoboszlai so rated on these free hit drafts? I get he's probably their best player, but points per game isn't anything crazy, and the fixture is exactly Wolves or Burnley. It isn't, but it could be a very rotated Palace side heading into European football. And I think the thing is, there are some rumours that he may be the penalty taker for this Liverpool side as well. So, yeah, that's probably where it is. I think Everton mids like KDH and Ndai are massively slept on for this free hit. I agree. I do agree. And my model actually agrees with you as well. Like I said, if you want to come and check out the full model for yourself and have a look at what your players' predicted points are, we'll do some. Obviously, get them in the chat. Some what points you want to have a look at for certain players for this game week. We can do that. But this is what my model's free hit team is for this game week, right? So it's actually gone really rogue with this side. It's gone triple Sunderland defence. It's gone Roofs. It's gone Mook. It's gone Ballard. It's also got Gabriel and it's also got Tarkowski. So it's a back four but made up of 3 Sunderland defenders / goalkeepers, right? Obviously got Bruno. It's got Mohamed Salah in there as well. It's got Ndai. Like we said, Ndai probably going a little bit under the radar for this game week, okay? Also got Declan Rice, and also has Dewsbury Hall as well. Another player that I think, again, isn't this most glamorous player. And because of his price point, I do feel like a lot of FPL managers probably will be off put by it. But his points per game are very, very good. Exceptionally good. Really, really good. Then we've got Bowen, obviously leading the line. It's only one up front. And then, as you can see on the bench, Raya, Van Dijk, Thiago, Solanke. That is my models team for this game week. Now, the models free hit team for last game week scored 108 points, which is pretty decent going. Would have got you a very nice green arrow last game week, because I think safety was around like 101, 102 points. So it would have been a very, very, very nice green arrow you would have got out of that. Again, though, maybe the model's onto something. Maybe the model's smoking some pipe, because like I said, going triple Sunderland defence, having 3 Everton players and a West Ham player is maybe a little bit crazy. But who knows? Who knows? Let me know what you think of the models team for this game week. I'm very interested to see your guys' opinion on it. Of course, if you do enjoy any of the content, subscribe, like, you know the drill by now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can get today's stream up to 50 likes nice and early. It would be massively appreciated, as always. Bench is crazy. The bench is pretty crazy for this free hit side, isn't it? It is pretty crazy. And yeah, KDH points as well. They're absolutely nuts for points per game. Ridiculously good for points per game. But Casemiro's GI and Defcon per start are both more than Rice and Sobo. You can check it yourself. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, they're not the most desirable picks, but they get points. They do get points. I like that as a differential draft, to be fair. Look, the model, like I said, is built off points per game. And then it's got like fixture multipliers in there and stuff like that. And like I said, I think since I've started the model, maybe 1 week, it's failed not to I've failed to not outscore the model. Like, the model is just battering me every single week with the team that it picks. So yeah, like, it's running in the back. It's on wildcard this game week as well. So we'll see how it gets on. It probably beats me yet again. It would not surprise me. I was contemplating triple Sunderland defence. Yeah, again, if you are positive covariant this game week, I think, if that's the route you want to play it, go for it. Go all in on it. Go Arsenal triple defence. Go Sunderland triple defence. So it could be one of those. Do I think Forest is going to score? Again, I think that game is very, very 50-50 and realistically could go either way. As you can see, the model is going, sod that. I think we're probably going to get some triple clean sheets. So yeah, there we go. Porro versus Mavropanos, Solanke versus Cunha. Which ones would you go with? Also, do you think Xavi will get 80 plus minutes? I think Xavi will get 80 plus minutes. He fits the De Zerbi profile of what players he likes. Solanke, I probably would say edges Cunha, just because we're not 100% sure Cunha plays this game. And again, it's kind of one of those classic battles that we've had throughout the course of the season, isn't it? It's attacking fullback with set piece share, or it's Defcon. Which one do you prefer, and which one do you think is going to have more routes to points? In my opinion, I think Mavropanos might edge it. He really, really might edge it just because of defensive contributions. However, Porro, because of his set piece share, because of the side that they're playing, and because of the vulnerability that Wolves have from right back, maybe Porro goes big this game week. Who knows? Tottenham can't concede. I got Kinski and Porro. Yeah, I've seen some people with like triple Spurs defense as well for this game week. Again, might be an option you want to consider. Watkins or Solanke. Watkins is a very streaky player, and again, if Villa are in a comfortable position, wouldn't shock me if there's an early substitution for Watkins, maybe Rodgers as well, because they've got a big European game. So if they're comfortable in that game, we might see some rotation. Whereas Spurs, they've got to go and win this. They have to go and win this. Solanke has the penalties as well, so probably edges him in my personal opinion for this game week. Looks like we've had another team sent in for review, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Like I said, guys, if you want to get yourself involved, this is going to be the place to come and get your teams reviewed. It is the FPL Cartel. It is my exclusive Discord server with Golden Goal, who is also live, and he is also doing team reviews in here as well. So feel free to come and check it out for yourself. 4-4-2 plan without Williams. So 4-4-2 with Williams, Wilson, and Thiago on the bench. So you would play Verge, Gabriel, Mook, Saliba, Roofs. Who else on the bench? Wilson's on the bench and Thiago. So then you're playing Szoboszlai, Rodgers, Anderson, Bruno, Bowen, Watkins. Again, I don't hate it. I really, really don't hate it. I think it's I genuinely could do quite well this week. It really, really could do quite well this week. I do know a lot of the models, though, are pushing heavy on Salah. And I've pretty much seen him in a lot of teams. So that would be the only thing that I personally would be deliberating this week. Like I said, here is my models picks for this week. The top picks for, of course, blank game week 34. If you want to come and check this out for yourself, there is a link, obviously, to the cartel, and that is where it is based. But as you can see, top for this week, Bruno, Gabriel, Salah, all above 6 projected points for this. Bowen and Dye, Mook, Rice, Saka, Dewsbury Hall in there as well. Urian Timber, Wilson, and Buemo, Tarkowski, Ballard, Bruno Guimaraes, who I'm looking to potentially bring in this game week as well. Szoboszlai, Diarra, a player I have seen absolutely nobody talking about. I've seen a few people mention Lafay. Diarra, the penalty taker for Sunderland. Maybe he could be a differential one for this game week as well if people are fancying it. Michael Keane as well. Absolute beast for points per game, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Garner as well, not the most exciting pick or interesting pick, but again, could be one that really does go off quite decently this week. Roof's the top performing goalkeeper on my model. We can also see Casemiro there, a player that we have spoken about, actually above Cunha on my model for this game week. So yeah, there you go. Casemiro above Cunha on my model. We've also got Lafay, Cunha, Alderente, and Pickford down the bottom there as well. So yeah, if anybody wants any like head-to-heads as well for the model, do let me know. We'll obviously run through some of those as well. Lafay or Gakpo, I probably would edge more towards Gakpo. Who should I start between Wilson and Sobo? Other midfielders are Bruno and Salah, or take Solanke off for Sobo. I probably would go Sobo ahead of Wilson. No Rodgers or Watkins there. Interesting. Yeah. No Rodgers or no Watkins on the predicted model for this game week. The model is really not feeling them. And I think that's across the board as well. That isn't just my model. It's like Solio also isn't fancying them. Review I've not really seen as well. So it's kind of one of those, isn't it? Yeah, we can have a look where Beto is. I think he'll be quite low because his points per game. Here's Rodgers, by the way, at 4.1 for this game week. Beto, I think, won't be great because his points per game have been pretty insignificant throughout the course of the season. Let's have a look. Beto. Beto's at 3.1 projected points for this game week as well. No Spurs players, again, because they're long-term kind of underperformance, really. That's what it will be. No worries, man. No worries. But yeah, any model, any head-to-head ones you want for the model, do let me know. I'm happy to run through any picks you guys want to see. Obviously, we can talk about Spurs. You want to see some Spurs? Let's go for some Spurs. Like I said, you can come and get full access to this. We do team review models with it as well. You put your team in. I give it a cheeky review. All that good stuff. Thoughts on double up on West Ham defense. Keeper and Mavropanos on 50 points. I think there's probably better players I would realistically focus on for this week for me. In terms of the model then for predicted points for this game week, Solanke on 3.9, Richarlison on 3.7, Van de Ven on 3.5, Porro on 3.5, Xavi Simons on 3.2 for this game week. So yeah, there are your kind of your picks for this game week as well. Rice versus Wilson. Yeah, we can definitely take a look at that one. Yeah, let's take a look at that one for you. Rice versus Wilson. Rice tick. I think yeah, Rice is ahead on that one, but it's quite tight between the pair. It is very, very tight. Do the models have Timber starting? I think I've left it as he is starting, yes, but again, we'll have to wait and see for the jump the wave predictions on that one. A very open game week for those in free hit. Even pretty players must be in squads. Yeah, there could be massive swings. There really, really could be massive swings this week. Mook, Mav versus Porro. Yeah, we can look at that as well. We can look at that. Like I said, if you want to come and get full access to this and do, obviously, your own Mavropanos and Porro is the final one. But yeah, if you want to come and do this for yourself, feel free to. So yeah, Mavropanos and Porro pretty similar, and then Mook is clear at 5.2 for this game week. So there you go. Hot take, Casemiro gets more points as well. There you go. What position do West Ham concede the most from? West Ham are a really interesting side and very vulnerable across the board. So I imagine if we bring it up, they will be like pretty much most areas. Let me have a look for you. XG Stat is the website I use. If anybody's interested, a great website. Would really recommend checking it out. It's it's very decent. Do you have any thoughts on Saw? Has a good record against Liverpool. Yeah, I might be taking Saw out this game week. Make of that what you will. Obviously, like I said, these are the moves that I'm thinking about for this game week. Otherwise, this would be my team if I were to, for whatever reason, couldn't make any more changes. This would be the team I would end up with. I just joined the FPL cartel. What server link do I need to join on Discord? It says, well, someone with the same username has just joined the Discord server as you. So it looks like you're in. You then just need to go to the FPL Tom stream section. That is where I would be looking to go. So yeah. Is triple Spurs viable or too much? Definitely viable for this game week. Definitely viable. Yeah. No news as of yet on Timber. Obviously, we'll try and keep you guys across any sort of team news. What we got? West Ham, their main vulnerabilities are left wingers, cams, first for CDMs, and first for centre backs. Michael Keane is getting a bullet header against these. I do not care yet. Michael Keane is getting a bullet header. It's locked in, isn't it? It's locked in. Michael Keane bullet header. If you're enjoying today's stream, guys, make sure you are hitting that like button. Let's see if we can get today's stream up to 50 likes nice and early. It is greatly appreciated, all the support you do show on the channel. And like I said, we're on that road to 50,000 subscribers. Keane and Garner, we will be there. Yeah. Keane and Garner, we will be there. No, I used my free hit last game week as well. Rice or Sobo? Rice. What do you think about the transferring of the fee? I don't hate it. Might have to chuck a cheeky fiver on a Keane header. I think it could be a great investment for the week. It really could. By the way, so I think something that's really important is sometimes we live in our own ecosphere, right? And we think that everything that we see on YouTube or within the FPL community, because I would say if you're watching this content, you're engaged, especially at this point in the season. We're at game week 34. You're probably a pretty engaged manager, right? We feel that we live in our own ecosphere sometimes, and we think everybody's free hitting. Everybody's going to have all these players, right? I'm going to tell you something right now. You're probably wrong. I've just gone into my group chat with my friends, and people haven't got a free hit because they spunked it earlier in the season. They're, messing around with like -4s, -8s. They haven't got a Scooby-Doo what they're doing. So, yeah. Again, just bear that in mind when you are making these decisions. Like, I think, obviously it was a prime example last week with the chip usage. We thought everybody was going to be on bench boost, but there was so many on free hit. There was so many on a triple captain as well. So, it's kind of one of these things where I think sometimes we do believe that because what happens within this community, we think that's just the general theme of the game, but it really isn't. We do live in our own bubble and own ecosphere at some point. Might be on one of the most differential free hit teams you've ever seen. I love to see it, Chewy FPL. I hope so. Top 3 strikers in the model, I believe, are Bowen, Thiago, Gyökeres are the top 3 within the model. Hey, maybe some Sunderland magic. Maybe that triple defense could work. Are you risking it with Cunha and hoping he starts? I am, yes. Um, yeah, this is what I mean. Like, again, we all live in our own little ecosphere and we think that's it. Everyone's playing free hit this game week, or everyone's got, enough players to make it through. Clearly not. Would you start Gokeres? I mean, if I was free hitting, yes. If I wasn't, probably still yes. So yeah, there we go. Squad sent, Salah made the budget tight. All right, let's go and have a take a look at this. Like I said, guys, if you do want to come and join the FPL cartel, it is in our exclusive Discord server where teams are getting reviewed and rated. So Keenan, who's been sending he said budget very because of Salah. That's fine. Again, you don't need the bench to be absolutely stacked. I've seen like some people go like, or like even that Isidore spot, you could drop that further. If you really wanted to like free the rest of this team up, you could drop that to like Margui. Like you could do that, put in third sub, and then you've got budget for the rest of the side. Verge, Gabriel, Mook, Roofs. Yeah, like you're gonna play those back four. Bruno, Salah, Dewsbury, Rogers, right? And Watkins, Bowen up top. There we go. It's a good team. You've got Anderson first sub, ready to come in. He's ready and raring. So, yeah, I think you're in a pretty decent position. How do I feel not having Salah? I am a little bit nervous heading into this week without Salah. It's kind of one of those, isn't it, where it could be, again, non-advantage, non-runner for me because obviously the strategy I'm on hasn't worked out so far. Like, I think obviously the first game week 32 with us benching so many points, absolute disaster. That probably would have been enough to then give us, we got a green in last week as well. So we probably would have been in a decent position where top 100k finish would still be on. It still could be on, but I really do think we're going to need some things to really fall our way this game week. Last week, managed to get 141 on the bench boost, thanks to suggestions. Love that. On the free hit, who do you bench or change? Right, let's take a look at this. So, Raya, Gabriel, Verge, Porro, Mavropanos is your backline. Steady. Gakpo, Salah, Bruno, Xavi. I mean, you've got the Casemiro pick in there, haven't you? It's who do you bench, really? It genuinely is who do you bench out of this side. I think I probably would end up on the bench with like Mavropanos. I think Casemiro makes the bench. And then I guess it's probably a cost of the coin, isn't it? Toss of the coin between Watkins and Solanke for who makes the bench. And you could probably throw Xavi Simons into that and probably Gakpo as well. I think for me, I would probably go Gabriel, Pedporo, Verge as a back three. I probably then would go 4 in midfield. Gakpo, Salah, Bruno, Xavi, Casemiro probably first sub. And then you can either go with that front three, or you can probably look at going Casemiro ahead of Watkins or Solanke. That is personally for me how I probably would look at this team for this game week. So yeah, that's probably what I would do. That's probably what I would do. Does a random punt on Isak sound crazy to you? I think for the money you're spending, yes. Yeah. I think so. Salah or Watkins? I would personally rather have Salah ahead of Watkins and Solanke for me personally. Yeah, I would. I would. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline. Obviously, I'm here to answer your guys' questions, help you out as best as we possibly can for this game week. The model's here. So, yeah, any questions, get them in, fire them away. No worries, man. Cost the toin. It's the new one, isn't it? It's the new catchphrase for all the kids, isn't it? Cost the toin. So yeah, there you go. Start Rodgers or Wilson. Oh, mate, that is tough. I probably would go Rodgers. Cool. I'll take a look. J-Lo, thank you for sending your team. Did you watch the Sidemen charity match? I didn't. Any attacking option from Arsenal? I mean, Eze started a decent amount of games in recent weeks, so maybe him. Other than that, you are probably looking at Rice. Realistically, aren't you? Tom, help me choose 2 out of Gakpo, Sobo, Rice, Wilson, Cunha, Xavi for the free hit this game week. I'm going to rule Cunha out straight off the bat. And I also am not the biggest fan of Gakpo. So I think that probably rules the 2 out for me. What would a wildcard team look like? I think for me, a wildcard team this game week would probably have Haaland and O'Reilly on it. I'd leave that third City spot open. I'd also probably have a Bournemouth defender just in case they double. Depends how many transfers you've got left. If you've got plenty in the bank, you don't probably have to leave that spot. Again, I probably would have one Palace defender in there as well for the bit of bench cover. I definitely would have double Arsenal defence on the... I think Raya, Gabriel, Rice probably would all end up on there. Bruno Fernandes would be locked in. Bowen definitely would be locked in. Probably would go a cheaper forward. You can maybe look at Krupi Jr. Again, if you've got the ability to play like through this game week a little bit. I like the Everton defence as well, like Tarkowski. Michael Keane could be a pretty decent option as well. Sunderland defenders could also be pretty good, valuable options. Again, I like Newcastle's longer-term fixtures as well, so maybe they could be worth a little bit of a cheeky gamble. So yeah, there's some thoughts to maybe consider as well. Havertz, I'm not feeling Havertz. This is the thing. I'm really not feeling genuinely any of the mids, in my opinion. I'm just not feeling any of them. I'm really not. The best free forwards to have this game week, I think it's probably going to be Bowen, Solanke, and then it's a toss-up between, in my opinion, Watkins, Beto if he's fit, or Thiago. Nah, you can still get the bench boost off. I'm going bench boost 36 as well, so we're good. We're good. Don't stress it, man. We got this. Please help Tom need a starting defender. Buy Verge, Porro, Munoz with a view to a bench boost in 36. I mean, Porro definitely fits that narrative. They've got an all right fixture then. Liverpool as well could also be pretty decent. Munoz because of the double, but at the same time, if they don't get that double, there might be some rotation ahead of European games. So I probably would be leaning more towards Porro and Munoz as my top 2. Thiago or Watkins? I mean, Watkins is the form player. Thiago is just Thiago, isn't he? He's got penalties. It's not a bad fixture, I don't think, personally, either. TC 36 or bench boost 36? Probably more tempted with the TC 36 on Haaland than a bench boost. What do I think about Solanke? I don't mind Solanke. Like, realistically, I don't mind Solanke. I think he's a fine option. Like, I genuinely don't mind him. I really, really don't mind him. Get Rice or Cunha. I think Cunha could be a little bit of a doubt, so I probably would go and get Rice. Solanke or Bowen or Watkins, a differential non-wildcard free hit long term. I probably would want, but like Bowen is just unbelievable value for what he does. Yeah. This will be a fun week. It could be a fun week. It could be a very, very stressful week for some managers. It really could, couldn't it? What are your plans for the next game week? It all depends what moves we've got lined up for this week. Like I said, at the moment, I'm currently leaning towards doing Bruno Guimaraes and Rice for Semenyo and Saar. Then we're probably going to look to do... what am I going to look to do? Then I'm looking to do Cunha for Cherky next game week. And then it'll either be bringing in another Palace defender for 36 to get the bench boost off, or it will be then, if Bournemouth for that side, looking to probably bring in a Bournemouth defender. So probably Hill for Richards or Hill for Alderete. So that is kind of where my head is at currently. This is the thing. I don't think Crystal Palace assets are bad for this game week by any stretch of the imagination. The problem is the minutes, right? I am concerned about Saar's last 2 games being benched. Now, Glasner did say that he feels more confident. Like, some people are going to play 60, some people are going to play 30. There's going to be more rotation around the European games. They've got that game on Thursday. That is the problem I'm having. It is the problem I'm having. Yeah. Ultimately, that is where my head is at right now. What chips you got left and your strategy? So I've got a bench boost in 36 currently. Again, it is all dependent on what we want to do this game week. Now, I could just sit on my hands, hope for the best, hope Saar plays, hope Cunha plays, hope Richards plays, and we hope for the best and try and get through the week. We could be aggressive. We could make 2 moves. We could just make the 1 move. So yeah, that is ultimately where my head is at for this game week. Best Dango replacements. Oh, that's a goodie. I like that. I probably would say, like, if you can stretch to and die, he might be a decent one. Otherwise, you're probably looking at, like, Dewsbury Hall, Casemiro, Diarra, Garner, Lafee, Elliot Anderson. They're probably going to be your guys, right? When is the best time to triple captain? It'll be Manchester City's double in 36. That is probably going to be your best bet. Yeah, that's probably going to be your best bet. If I had to make 1 move this game week, I probably would go Semenyo to Rice. Semenyo to Rice. Then next week we would go Saar to Cherky. And then we'd have 2 in 36. So again, that would be then looking to either go like 2 Palace in or 2 Bournemouth in. What did I have for my lunch? I just had a protein shake. That's all I have most lunches anyway. Looks like we've had a few teams sent in, so we'll go and review those over in the FPL Cartel Discord. Like I said, guys, if you want to get yourself involved with that, link in the description. Looking in terms of captaincy this game week, yeah, Bruno Fernandes is really leading the way, isn't he? He really is leading the way. Right, let's head over to the wrong screen. Good. Yeah, you can see that. Cool. We've got J-Lo's. He says, thoughts on who to start. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. Genuinely, J-Lo, I think I probably would have it as is. Again, maybe the players that are dropped is like either the second Sunderland defender or Mavropanos. I like the Eze differential pick. If he starts the game, that could be a fun one. That really could be a fun one. I'm currently at 550k with 1 free transfer. I want to gain some rank, but I don't know if I need to do something this week. Specifically thinking about Bruno G for next week. Any thoughts? I absolutely love Bruno G. Again, we're in a very similar place looking at our sides. Ridiculously similar. I think this is the exact same squad, right? Bar like Dubravka. So I think if I was to make any moves, like I said, you've only got 1 free. You want to get Bruno G in next week. So I think the play would probably be to stick and hold and sit on your hands is probably the right play. If you want to go for it, it probably would be like Saw or Semenyo to Rice. Then next week you go Cunha to potentially Bruno Guimaraes, or you look to go Cunha to Cherky. That is kind of where my head would be at with that one. Keenan has sent in his final, I believe, free hit side. So you'd play Verge, Gab, Mook, Saliba, Bruno, Salah, Dewsbury Hall, Rogers, Watkins, Bowen. Good team. It is just a good team. It is a very good team, and I think that could score quite well. I do believe it could score quite well, mate. Xavi or Solanke. I mean, you're always going to back the penalty taker, aren't you? So you'd probably go Solanke. I mean, you could also do that. What do you think of Igor Jesus? Excuse me. What do you think of Igor Jesus from Nottingham Forest? Not for me personally. Not an option for me personally. But usually when I say that, people then go and score like hat tricks or something daft, don't they? We're only 2 likes away from 50 likes on today's stream. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you are, of course, getting those likes in. I'm just watching Tom play around with his free hit side for this game week. I'm trusting it. Yeah, I am trusting it. Again, this is probably another reason why I'm also tempted to make some moves, because if I do make the moves, then, you know, we're taking out Semenyo. It gives us then a free player for the bench, doesn't it then? It does give us a free player for the bench. On a free hit and can't decide on formation, any thoughts on this? I personally would be looking to play 1 or 2 strikers. I hope that helps. But yeah, I probably would only be playing 1 or 2 strikers if I was on a free hit this week. Who will you bench if you bring in Rice? Richards. So if I'm just to make the one transfer, I would bench Semenyo to Rice, bench Richards. That's probably what I would do. I would bench Richards and go Declan Rice. I mean, yeah, I think there will be some people playing -4s and -8s this week. Looking in my group chat with my friends from home, I do think there will be people playing like -4s and -8s this week. I really do. Gabriel or Virgil for this 1 week. Interestingly, Newcastle are 3rd for goal involvements conceded to centre backs. So this could be a big week where Gabriel goes off. Salah or Szoboszlai? Salah for me. Yeah, I probably would go Salah. Yeah, looking at the poll for captaincy for this week, Bruno Fernandes is absolutely monstering it, isn't he? He's easy going to be the top captain this week. I think people aren't even like risking captaincy, are they? They're just going with it, and I don't blame them. Look, he's just so he's so phenomenally good. The problem is they're the final game of the week, innit? I mean, that is a real tough one. It genuinely is a tough one. And if you look at the bookmakers' odds, they're also very close to each other. So yeah. Do you feel it's better to wildcard or take a -4? I feel with like maybe delaying the wildcard by a week, you're probably gonna gain information around the double. We're also gonna gain information about Palace. Like Palace could go out. Like if they get battered in that first leg, that might be it. And then by the time we get into game week 36, they'll be off the back of that European game, but it might be already too late. It might genuinely be already too late. Gibbs White is still definitely a good option for this game week as well. If I was to bench boost, what would my 15-man squad be? I think a lot of people have put out like what a free hit is, and then the bench is like covered with like, one Spurs player, some West Ham players, some Everton players. So yeah, that's probably what a free hit would look like realistically. Pick one, Sobo, Cunha, Rice. Probably either Sobo or Rice for me, mate. Cunha being a little bit of a doubt probably would be enough for me not to go with him on the free hit. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with him, but yeah. Probably, yeah, would be enough for me not to realistically consider picking him this game week. Do, 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 do. Boom, boom, boom. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, I am here to try and help you guys out as best as I possibly can. Yeah, I mean, he's not like a 100% like locked in doubt. All they said is he was on a recovery day yesterday, but then nothing was mentioned in the press conference. But you never know. Probably that for me would just be enough indication to be a little bit concerned. So yeah, I don't mind Dewsbury Hall. Very, very good for points per game. Very, very good for points per game. Yeah, that's also the thing is I then have the ability to switch away from Semenyo and go and get Cherkian. He's gone for the front three as Tom. I'm just over in his stream looking at his team. He's gone for the front three. Oof. Mook or Pedporo? I actually think I'd rather have Mook, I do think I probably would rather have Mook. Yeah. Bold as it may seem, I think I probably would rather have him. Would you consider selling Chow for a long-term better pick? I have exactly 11 players. This is the thing, right? Is Newcastle's fixtures after the Arsenal game are very, very good. Like, they are pretty decent. So Malik Chow might actually just be a fine option to potentially keep. I know it's not ideal this game week. Might be a bit lackluster, and maybe there might be more upside for this 1 week. However, I do look at those Newcastle fixtures, and I do think there's some nice fixtures to end the season. There could be, a decent run in there for Newcastle. I don't mind a 5-back. I genuinely don't mind a 5-back. I think people are maybe getting a bit ahead of themselves and thinking, look, the free up front, they're so desirable because, Watkins scored a brace last week. Solanke's got Wolves. Bowen. Like, Bowen should be in everybody's team regardless. He should be the one that's a lock. But I do think, I genuinely do think as well, we might be overrating the strikers a little bit because my model, like I said, it's gone for a 4-5-1. It has completely ditched the forwards. Points per game, forwards wise, they're not good enough. They're not. I think the appeal is they could always hit a big double-digit haul, though, and that is always going to be the appeal, isn't it? I really don't trust Spurs players this week, even against Wolves. Surprised quite a few people are going with Porro, Simmons, and Solanke. It is kind of like what a lot of the models are suggesting. So that is where people will go. Like, people try and palm it off as like, oh, I came to this conclusion. Probably not. It's a models pick. It just is. Yeah. Will Ballard start? I believe so. I'll have a look at the FPL Meerkat predictions for this week. Obviously, we'll wait for the jump the wave ones. I would like to delete all Chelsea players. They might be back. Where are Sunderland? Yeah, Ballard is back in there. Alderente, Mook. They're all in there. Diarra in the 10. So yeah, there you go. Bruno and Salah aside, who do you think is the best midfielder? 7.2 million max. I think for this game week, you are probably looking at Rice and Sobbo, aren't you? You are probably looking at those two as the guys to realistically consider. Will Mbeumo start? No info about him yet, but he's yellow. Apparently he was in training yesterday, so that will probably be enough for me to suggest he'll be fine. Watch West Ham versus Palace and can't understand the hype for Hammers players. I mean, Jared Bowen is kind of one of those picks that will get points because what he does. Has DEFCON ability, has penalties, has set piece share. And if West Ham are going to score, I'm going to bet my left bollock that Jared Bowen's got some sort of goal involvement in it. So, yeah. On a free hit, would you go free strikers? I personally wouldn't. We just had that discussion around maybe strikers are being a bit overvalued this week. Because if you look at a points per game perspective, they just don't score that great, do they? I'm guessing Rice is better longer-term option than Sobbo. I think both are great. Genuinely, both are fantastic options. Longer-term as well. I think Arsenal just have some nice fixtures coming up where maybe Rice could do well. Has a pretty decent record against Newcastle, by the way. Does Declan Rice. Thoughts on Gibbs White? Yeah, I don't mind Gibbs White. I genuinely don't mind Gibbs White. Again, has that talismanic profile about him, doesn't he? Where if Forest are going to score, he's probably going to have some sort of involvement in it. The Mbeumo news, nothing was mentioned in the press conference. All we got was that he is in training. That's all we've got. That is all we've got at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, unfortunately, that is all we've got. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to ask me ahead of the deadline, do let me know. I feel like most people will try to chase the Xavi points, but it wouldn't shock me if maybe Casemiro does outscore him. I don't think it's a bad fixture for Dango. If you definitely want to move him, there are some very nice picks. I think we looked at the Dango picks. So my model spat out Dewsbury, Casemiro, Diarra, Gardner, Lafie, Elliot Anderson. Those were the ones that the model spat out. Yeah, and Mbeumo was pictured in training. Start Mook or Saliba, have Gabriel. Again, depends on if you want to go stacked into that Arsenal defence or you believe Mook is going to be the best player to go for. Again, all down to you, isn't it, really? Here he is. Right, we were literally just having this debate, Tom, around our strikers maybe being overvalued this week. Because if you look throughout the course of a season, would you want to play a free up front? As someone who's played a free up front most of the season, I've not really enjoyed it. And it hasn't been great routes to points, has it? I think the thing with Watkins as well is if Villa are quite comfortable in that game, what's to stop them taking him off and then, preparing for European football. If they're like 2 or 3-0 up, 60-minute mark, does Watkins go off? So that's kind of where my thoughts would be at with that one, mate. No, we haven't had any news yet on Timber, so we'll wait and see. What's the alternative to Lafitte in Sunderland midfield? It's going to be Diarra, who has the penalties. Is Gabriel captain plus forward, not Bowen, better than Fernandez captain plus Saliba? Again, depends how well you feel your captain's going to do. I think taking on that Bruno captaincy this week is too scary and personally wouldn't want to go for it. Oh, mate, I don't care. I really don't care about the hate I get on TikTok. Obviously, my my content is a little bit I don't know how to word it correctly, but it gets engagement, right? The intros are a little bit clickbaity. They are. But that's kind of how you have to get people in the door a little bit. The advice I'm giving is still very solid. And I really, like, genuinely, I don't care what people say about me. You can call me a curly head prat, prick, whatever you want to call me, you can. It really doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. And I get on with my job. I enjoy making content for you guys. People are always going to have something to say about me, regardless of whatever I'm doing. Every single content creator on this platform gets dogs abuse. Okay? And like I said, it doesn't really bother me personally. Like, I'm quite a thick-skinned individual, and I just think, sod it. I don't care. And like I said, I know my TikTok intros are a little bit provocative. They sometimes stoke a little bit of controversy, but controversy, in my opinion, is good. It gets people talking, it gets engagements in, and ultimately that is what TikTok is about. And I'm still giving you guys good advice, but I'm also getting the hook and the engagement in to get you guys in. And then obviously build a platform off the basis of that, which we've seen works this season, right? I'm still giving you good advice, but again, yeah, I don't care. No, 100%. You can't please everyone, mate. And like I said, if you're gonna come into this, if you're gonna come into this business or this like career line, you're gonna get hate. You are genuinely gonna get hate, regardless of whatever I say. There will be like sometimes I will give incorrect advice, or sometimes there will be a player that will score massively, and I've told someone to sell them. Now, that's not because it was a bad idea that I suggested that. Ultimately, we've got to remember, I have basically no power on what happens once the game of football begins. I have no influence over that. Prime example, the beach ball that Darren Bent scored off. Imagine if you took out Darren Bent and then he gets a goal off a beach ball. I can't foresee that. I can't predict that. What I can do is look at, fixtures and models and how players are performing and give you then high quality advice with, of course, my own personality kind of dashed in there. That's all I can ever do. Ultimately, everybody in the creator game is guessing, and sometimes we get correct guesses, sometimes we get wrong guesses. Just the way it goes, isn't it? Oh yeah, mate. It's so normalized. Cheers, guys. I do appreciate it. You can't hate the coin, mate. You cannot hate the coin at all. Yeah, I don't think about it. Thinking to sell Dango or Mbuemo to get Rogers in. I personally would go. I'd probably sell more likely to sell Dango than I would Rogers. Thank you for sending your team in, man. Let's have a look. Have we had it sent in? Oh, yeah, there we go. I see it, man. Let's go and get some team reviews done. Like I said, guys, if you want to come in, obviously chat to me further outside of the streams, come and come and get yourself involved in the FPL Cartel Discord. As people probably know who've been in there for a little bit, I'm pretty honest in there as well. I'll happily help everybody out, and we'll just chat to you guys as well. I think that's probably been one of the good things this season about the Discord group is just chatting to you guys as well. And I hope the people that are in there realize that I'm not like some big, scary figure that you can't really speak to or some mystic figure. I'm just a regular guy, really, that gives out FPL advice. Thoughts? Not sure if I like and die too much. I don't mind and die. I think he is a pretty good pick. So you would play Gabriel, Verge, Porro, Mook. I'm guessing Mavropanos is on the bench. Then you're probably looking at like a 4 in midfield. So Ndai, Sobo, Salah, Bruno, Bowen, Thiago up front. I don't hate it. I do think it is a pretty decent free hit team. If you're not feeling Ndai, who could you go for? You could go for one of the Sunderland midfielders we spoke about, Xavi Simmons, if you could maybe stretch up a little bit. Obviously, if you're going to play Mavropanos, you could just drop him completely all the way down. So yeah, it's either you play and die, or you obviously look for another forward like a Solanke, a Xavi Simmons, a Diarra, someone like that. But I think that's a good free hit team. I do think that is a good free hit team. As the saying goes, don't hate the player, hate the game. Fully, man. Start 2, Gibbs White, Somerville, Dewsbury, and die. I personally would go and die and Gibbs White, but I think the other two could also be very, very good players to start this game week. Thoughts on Gibbs White in the free hit? I don't mind it. The cartel has made you a better FPL manager. I mean, if you look at my rank, no. But I think having chats with very, good managers, I think the stuff around fixtures and there was so much good stuff on strategy, and people were calling me BS on my strategy that I was going to select. I personally didn't decide to listen to them, but I should have done. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of the group is there are so many great intellectual managers within there that they will call out BS when they see it. So yeah. Yeah, just let you behind the curtain. This is a green screen. Nah, I do this from my bedroom in my flat. Like I'm not some massive, influencer figure, am I? I think with Cunha maybe being a bit of a doubt, I probably would go elsewhere. That's a pretty nice team. Yeah, pretty good team. For transfers in, who would you rather have? Rice plus Watkins, Sobo Watkins, Rogers, Morgan, Gibbs, White plus Solanke. I probably would go Rice, Watkins. Probably would be the ones I would want. The only concern I do have around Villa, right, is they do have European games coming up. So there might be some rotation further down the line that we do have to maybe monitor a little bit. So do bear that in mind if you are picking Aston Villa players. Yeah, do bear that in mind a little bit. Nice to see Tom has dropped. He's dropped Watkins. He's gone the 5 in midfield strong. I like it. I like it. I don't mind Eze. Havertz, I'm a little bit more skeptical on. But yeah, I don't mind Eze for this week. Don't mind Eze. Do you keep your questions coming in, guys? Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline? Do let me know. Obviously, we're here to help you guys out as best as we possibly can. How confident am I? Newcastle won't score against Arsenal. I'm definitely not sure. Yeah, the bottle could be on. The bottle could be on. And if you do feel that way on a free hit, maybe just go 1 or 2 Arsenals. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you want to get number 1 for the week, why not? Is Cunha a doubt? He was just on a recovery day yesterday while the team were in training. Nothing was brought up in the press conference by the manager, so I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. Arsenal team news. Calafiori and Saka both back in the squad. Timber still injured. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Beto is injured, by the way. Beto is unavailable after suffering a concussion. Jared Branthwaite will not feature again this season either. So Michael Keane. But yeah, Michael Keane. And I think that probably makes the Everton attackers a little bit worse if there's no Beto. That'd be my personal opinion on it anyway. Tom, who would you start, and Die or Wilson? I probably would go and Die, but that Beto news could be the difference between going and Die or Wilson for me. Use 2 free transfers to get a full 11, or use my wild card, don't have a free hit. I think I probably would maybe go with the transfers. Because then next week you can wildcard with the information that we'll have around certain doublers and when they will fall. So if Bournemouth are going into 36 and Palace are going into 37, or of course going, Palace are in 36 and we'll be able to see their European game, how they get on in the first leg as well. So I think you'll have more information to work with. I mean, if you don't trust free Manchester United midfielders, don't hate it. How to differentiate your free hit if behind on 50? I think it would probably be maybe going a bit like positive covariant would probably be one of the ways I would look to go for it. So it would be like triple Arsenal defense, triple Sunderland defense, or triple United attack, or that's kind of how I probably would look to go for it. If I was really chasing, I would try and be a bit more like positive covariant. Can I bench boost again? I know. You can get a very, very nice bench boost off, can't you? It just can happen. Effective ownership is the only reason I'm not going Salah over Bruno. Captain, so scared of Bruno at home. United aren't attacking the best, but everything that Bruno, yeah, it does. And again, I think if you're in an all right rank position, you can make up the gains elsewhere and just keep Bruno covered off. Could also prioritize the Champions League. I think that the league is very big. It is very big for Arsenal, isn't it? I'm going to keep him. I'm going to keep him. Yeah. Like I said, we spoke through my changes earlier, so we'll do them again because I know we've had plenty of more new people come into the stream and stuff like that. So what I could do is I could just leave my team like this for this week. Risk Cunha, risk Saw maybe being on the bench, maybe risk Richards being on the bench, whatever. Or, well, let's start off with the option one. We get rid of Semenyo. We go to Rice. Then next week, we have Cunha going back to Turkey. So we've still got free City for their double, okay? Then we've got 2 free transfers where we can assess what we want to do. So we could go to, obviously going more into Palace. We could go into, what else could we go into? We could go into some Bournemouth players as well ahead of their double. That's an option. Or option number 2, or option 3, should I say, is we go and get Bruno G. Now, what you might be thinking to yourself is, why would you go and get Bruno Guimaraes? He's got Arsenal. It's away. Newcastle are in poor form. I get all that. But Bruno G is back. And Bruno G is a monster, by the way. Like, this guy's points per game is phenomenally good. Like, ridiculously good. When he's in form, he just absolutely spams the points in. On penalties as well, because Anthony Gordon is not going to be playing. So yeah, that's the other option that I do have. Has set pieces as well. So yeah, there you go. Havertz or Gokres. I think my model had Gokres slightly ahead. Bournemouth potentially could double in 36. Yeah. So it's all dependent on whether or not the Premier League wants to move Manchester City's game if they reach the FA Cup final. I understand he's coming back from an injury, but he also played 28 minutes. I expect him to play a full 90. Apparently, he's trained very well throughout the week, according to Eddie Howe as well. So, yeah. Yeah, nothing. By the way, nothing is confirmed on that Bournemouth double. Like, we have no. Oops. Best 7.4 million mid to start this week on Wildcard 35 have Wilson, Bruno, and Anderson. Sobo, Rice, probably the ones I would be looking at, and Dye maybe, or another Everton midfielder. Start Watkins or Porro. I personally would probably go Porro. Yeah, I probably would go Porro. So yeah, like I said, that is kind of where my head is at in terms of the transfers for this week. We could just make no moves. We could do Semenyo to Rice. We could do both. Sarr out. Yeah. That's kind of where my head's at on that one. Thoughts on Ishmael a start? Will he start? This is the big thing, isn't it? Will he start is the number one question. I think he will. But again, what sort of minutes does he play? It fully will be, won't it? I do think it is probably maybe a decision for the coin to make on this. Do we get rid of Sarr or do we keep Sarr? It's probably one for the coin. On wildcard, Wilson, Sobo, or Xavi. I probably would be tempted with Sobo. The thing with Harry Wilson longer term is obviously the contract situation. His contract's up. Fulham might go, if you're not going to sign a new contract, pal, we ain't playing you. That could very easily be a realistic scenario. Or it could go the other side of that, and it could be he wants to play every single game. He wants to get the team into Europe. He wants to have a good end, or maybe even add a couple extra digits on the end of that contract that Fulham are going to offer him. Keane or Talk, I genuinely think I would probably go Michael Keane this week. Points per game are decent. Set pieces. By the way, West Ham are first from goals conceded to centre-backs. Just saying. Just saying. What have we got then? What have we got, ladies and gentlemen? Saka and Calafiori are back in the squad for tomorrow's game. Still nothing on Yuri and Timber, though. The coin gives you points. The coin has been on fraud watch this season. It really has. But Ishmael Assar, I'm just reading this on Twitter, has 7 goals in 9 matches. Oliver Glasner confirmed full strength. Thoughts on Strand Larson? Probably not for me. Timber to Saliba for a -4. Probably going to have to do something like that, realistically, aren't you? I personally wouldn't go for Isak. I feel like I'd rather have Gakpo or Szoboszlai, Salah ahead of that. Coin flip for keep or sell Cunha. Yeah, we can do you one of those. Heads is going to be keep. Tails is going to be sell, okay? Heads, keep on the Cunha. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Might be a -8 time. Yeah, it could be a -8 there, mate. Maybe I like if one of them's a goalkeeper, personally wouldn't do a minus for a goalkeeper. There's no upside in that. But if they're everybody's outfield players, then yeah, you might want to pull the trigger. Oh, I think I'd probably go Mook. I think I'd go Mook, you know. I think my model probably would lean the same way as well. Of course you can. You can send whatever you want on anyone to bench them if you want. Like, I don't understand what people's issue is with having, like, money built on the bench for a free hit. Like, if one of those players mysteriously gets ill the night before, I'd rather have, like, a 9 million player coming off my bench than some 4 million player because someone on, like, a YouTube comment or TikTok or Twitter told me that I can't have expensive players on my bench. Don't matter. Haaland, Semenyo, Ekitike. Ekitike's got to go, hasn't he? Because he's out for the remainder of the season. So that would be priority number 1. Haaland, I'd realistically want to keep. So Semenyo probably would be number 2 that I'd get rid of. Dewsbury Hall and Watkins, you must. I mean, I don't mind Dewsbury Hall. I don't mind the Dewsbury Hall one. I think he could do quite well this week. Oh, my back. DQ questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, we will be here. Oh, there's a delay in audio. Okay. Give me a second. Let me try and fix that. Hopefully that fixed it. If it didn't, do let me know. And we'll try some more things. But yeah, let me know if that fixed it. I mean, Watkins is more the desirable pick this week, but Thiago is just so consistent, isn't he? He could just tick along very nicely this week. He really could. I'm not sure on my free hit team. I don't think anyone is. This is the problem with a free hit, is you get so caught up, don't you? You're like, oh my God. You just kind of like, oh, I want that guy. And then you're like, no, I want this guy. I've just seen on Twitter someone talk about this player. And then you're going round and round in circles all the time. Yeah. I think the better thing to do is maybe just leave it sometimes, is just go, well, there we go. Why not only Bruno G move? I think I would prefer Rice for this week. I probably would just prefer Rice for this week. Can I get a wildcard team built? I think my wildcard team wouldn't be too dissimilar to what I'm actually got repping here right now. Probably would have some sort of Palace, maybe one Bournemouth player, maybe like a Krupi just on the bench. I probably would have Haaland and Bowen as my front 2. would have Nico Riley. I would have Rice, Gabriel Raya. I probably would have Bruno Fernandes. A gamble on maybe like a Bruno G as well, because Newcastle's fixtures are very good, by the way. Yeah, I like all the players you've suggested there, mate. They all seem pretty good. Don't mind the slanky punt as well on a free hit. I think that's a fine move to potentially look at. Ah, fair enough. There you go then. You got a bit of bench cover. If you're enjoying today's stream, guys, make sure to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get up to 100 likes. Would be greatly appreciated. No, I like the alternatives you've suggested there. I do think they're all good. The only problem is Bournemouth may double in 36. Again, we're not going to have that information before the deadline, so it's hard to know. Top 50k is definitely on. Top 10k, you're probably going to need some big swings to go back in your favor, in my personal opinion. Yeah, you're definitely going to need some pretty big swings to go correct to really get that off. So, depends how many transfers you've got. So let's say, for example, I have 2 transfers, right? And if I was to activate my wildcard button, I would then come into next week with 2 transfers still. I wouldn't lose one. I just wouldn't gain one. So before you click the wildcard button, yeah, there you go. Why you got expensive players in your team not playing on a free hit? I don't have a free hit. I played my free hit last week. Saka is back for the Newcastle game as well. No worries, man. Casemiro or Cunha? I mean, Casemiro is absolutely milking in points this season, isn't he? He is milking in the points. I'm a lot more tempted just to maybe leave Sarr in. Like, we've got Richards as a bit of cover. Maybe we just firm it. And then, like I said, we'll have 2 FTs next week. So then we can go... Could we then do this? My 2 FTs, if I find out, like, Palace are doubling, but I'm not keen on Palace anyway. Well, I can just do... How much is Cherky? Oh. We could get Bruno G next week. Oh, we could get Bruno G next week. I don't mind that. I don't mind that as like a longer term plan then. Would then mean we'd have 1. But if I was only going to get 1 more, I probably would just get like another Palace defender in here. Like, I wouldn't want to probably go crazy on anything. 1 to think about, ladies and gentlemen. 1 to definitely think about. Oh, yeah. You'll just have to firm it. Just firm it in, mate. Just firm it in. Gordon out to Rodgers for a -4 or just play Malik Chow. Would maybe just be tempted to play just Malik Chow and hope for the best. What do you think of Isaac since I need to climb up the mini leagues? Personally, wouldn't go for it. Hasn't shown anything since recovering, coming back from his injury for me to go, yeah, I'd have that. So yeah, I personally wouldn't buy it. No update on Cunha and any sort of injury that he might have. Nothing, unfortunately, for that. Thoughts on Xavi captain? Again, I personally think he's a big enough differential where you will get enough good rank gain out of him without having to pull the trigger. Yeah. And Dye versus Dewsbury Hall. And Dye's got the penalties, hasn't he? That would be your big appeal of obviously selecting and Dye. Dewsbury Hall, though, has the better points per game. So, yeah. Thoughts on Wolves? Armstrong. He's all right, but he's a championship player at best. Maybe Wolves are going to be the one that throws everything into the mixing pot and beats Spurs. Oh my days. What the hell is someone just started spamming in the chat? Out you go. What about? Please don't spam, guys. We will get round to thinking it to answering questions. Falls on triple Arsenal on a free hit. I don't hate it. I probably would be looking at Rice, Gabriel, Rare myself if I was on a free hit. Fantasy. Oh, mate, if Wolves win, it would be absolutely hilarious, wouldn't it? Honestly, if Wolves win, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious. I kind of hope they do it now. What is my team for this week? So I think I'm set on selling Semenyo to Rice. And then next week we could do Saw in for Bruno G and Cunha in for Cherky. We could do those moves. But let's wait and see. We could still make 0 moves. That is also a very realistic possibility that I make 0 moves heading into this game week. But yeah, we'll see. I'd rather go for Alderete, in my personal opinion. I mean, who are you picking from a triple up in terms of Wolves? I don't think they've got that many good players. If you want to get your team rated, send it into my Discord. Link is in the description for that, or right there in the chat. There you go. You can do whatever you want, mate. I just think Rice is a decent option for points per game. But at the end of the day, mate, you can do whatever you want. That is the ultimate thing I always say to you guys, is you can do whatever you want. So Salah captain this week over Bruno. I still personally think I would go Bruno. Salah will be a good enough rank gainer without having to give him the captaincy armband, in my opinion. So glad to say goodbye to him. Yeah, he was awful, wasn't he? He was awful. He was absolutely atrocious. Keeping Cunha means getting rid of Heaven for Ronaldo, but the coin has spoken. There we go. It has, hasn't it? I'd probably go Mook, Alderete, sorry, ahead of Juve for me personally this game week. No worries, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support as always, my friend. Hope you're doing good. I'd be tempted to move him on for a -4. Yeah, I'd be tempted to move him on for a -4. 1 clean sheet in 19 weeks. Thanks, Sanchez. Yeah, he was god awful, wasn't he? He really was. I have just put a poll. Let's do a poll. Let's do some polls. Let's do some polls. Let's put who would you rather have? Bruno G or Saar? There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I have put a poll up. Who would you rather have for this game week? Would you rather have Bruno G or would you rather have Saar? Get your votes in for that one. I'm interested to see where people's heads are at. I am interested to see where people's heads are at. It's McFarlane, I believe. I think that's the guy's name, McFarlane. Yeah, I think that's the guy's name. Oh, Saar is always out for blood against. I think it was like 7 and 9. 7 and 9 for that one. Yeah, it is a tasty record. It is a tasty record. It's one of those, isn't it, really? It is one of those that... Yeah, I'm unsure. I'm unsure to say the least. Hi, mate. Best Semenyo and Tavernier replacements. No free transfers left, so they will be my 2 free transfers. Again, I think it's probably the similar-ish midfielders that I'm looking at. Szoboszlai, Rice, Dewsbury Hall for that cheaper Tavernier replacement, potentially. And Dye maybe as well. Thing is, I don't think he plays the Villa game. I don't think he starts the Villa game after European football. I don't think Isak takes the next penalty either. I believe it will be Szoboszlai. Looking at the thing. Yeah, looking at it, it looks like it's potentially, going to be Szoboszlai who will take up and take the next penalty. There we go. Saliba plus Simmons or Gabriel and Wilson. Probably Gabriel and Wilson, in my opinion. Yeah. Looking at the poll, more of you are going towards Bruno G than Sarr. Interesting. Okay. Oh, yeah. If Isak then misses the pen, confidence will be on the floor. I think Mbeumo should be starting. Obviously, we'll wait and see what the Jump the Wave predictions are saying for this game week. But yeah, I think he will. By the way, because it's like warmer now and it's summer. We used to play this fun game. Well, it's not summer, it's spring in the UK. But it's warmer, which means like, I want to get some natural light into the room, have the windows open and stuff. So now I get to play the fun game that we used to play like back in the OG days of watching people get locked out of the flat across the road and then try and get into it. It's a great game. It is a great game. This is what you don't get with other people is fun games like this. Yeah, I mean, Sharda's probably the only one that I would be a little bit hesitant on. Verts as well isn't the greatest pick, but it's a fine team that definitely could get through this week. It definitely could get through this week. No doubt in my mind. What can Javi, Mavro, Gakpo, Wilson choose 2 for the free hit? That's a toughie. I probably would go. Let's go Xavi, and let's go. Oh my god, who would I go for? Let's go Mavropanos. There's no better. Let's go Mavropanos. Let's do it. Best defensive differentials. I have Mavropanos, Mook, Porro in mind. Yeah, they're kind of the ones I probably would be looking at. I think then maybe the only way you get different in defense is stacking. Depends. Like, again, the benefit of the wild card is you can then set the team up for further down the line. But if you've got no other chips left, maybe you just activate the wild card this game week, but leave a few Palace and Bournemouth players on the bench alongside some City. Yeah. Saw is slightly ahead on the poll for this week now. So there we go. We can run through my models team for this game week. We did it a little bit earlier, but let's, obviously I know we've got some new people in the chat. So this is the model that is available in the FPL cartel. If you want to come and get yourself involved with that, link in the description. But this is obviously my model that is based off points per game with a fixture multiplier. And these are the best players heading into this game week then, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, it's gone interesting. It's gone triple Sunderland defense, Roofs, Mook, Ballard. It's got Tarkowski in there, who I've not really seen in anybody's teams. Gabriel, Bruno Fernandes, obviously the captain. Salah and Rice. Dewsbury Hall, again, a player I've not really seen kind of spoken about at all. And then finally, it's got Bowen up front as well. So, yeah, some pretty nice picks in there, ladies and gentlemen. Some pretty decent picks. Let me know what you think of this team. Obviously, like I said, built from my model. If you want to come and check it out for yourself, link in the description for that one. I think people are being drawn in Spurs for two reasons. Number one, the fixture. It's Wolves. They are really bad. Number two, if they are obviously watching any sort of content creator, they will have Wolves, they will have Spurs players in because the models are telling them to go that way. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit. I think that's a pretty decent free hit side. I really do. I think, you're just kind of messing around with like one or two players, but I think realistically, you are probably getting some good players out there. I don't trust the model nearly as much as I trust the coin. The model is absolutely on smoke, by the way. It got 108 on its free hit last game week, and I looked at it and went, "This is crap." Like, I was looking at it going, "This is terrible," and then it beat me. So what do I know? Thoughts on KDH and Die on a free hit? As you can see, my model absolutely loves it. So if you want to back my model and believe it's good enough, Die has obviously Dewsbury Hall as well on there for this game week. So yeah, like I said, if you want to back it, go for it. Go for it, ladies and gentlemen. Go for it. You. Because I remember Stacy and her dating. Bow, 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 bow. If you want to pick who would you go for? I probably would go and Die just for the penalty appeal. Dewsbury Hall, though, does have the better points per game. But yeah, both are good options this game week. Tom, how much? What does that mean? I think Sunderland will win, but also concede. Let's have a look. FPL Tom's coin is the best source of FPL truth. It really is, isn't it? It really is. How much do I value the model team? I think the model team has been doing, like, genuinely, the model every single week. Like, I look at some of the picks it comes out with, I look at some of the players, and I always do question it and go, is that the right? But in the end, like, it comes out with some corkers. Maybe this week it might not be right. Maybe it might have a poor week. But across the course of the season, it has been so consistent And as since its inception, has outscored me every single week. So again, make of that what you will. Oh, you mean value? It was the same value as what my team value is. Yeah, it's the same team value as what I've got. I mean, you can add it. You can add all those players' prices up for yourself and come to the conclusion. I think my squad value at the moment is like 102, 102. So yeah, probably around that. Probably around that, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, the votes on socials are close. Yeah, maybe I should add a value column in there as well. Maybe I should add a value column in there. Have I considered Rodgers? The thing with Rodgers is I've had this guy before and he probably ruined my season, right? And yeah, for me, I just don't want to go down that route again. I've been there, I've tried it. I didn't enjoy Rodgers. The players that I'm selecting have like what I'm looking for, which is multiple avenues to points. And that is why I would be selecting them. Yeah, he's a fantastic shout. He is a fantastic shout. Gibbs White or Xavi or Gakpo or Ndai, choose two. I probably would go like Xavi and Ndai. Thoughts on Mbuemo to KDH to fund Krupi to Bowen and Chow to Saliba, no chips left. Again, though, if Bournemouth get that double, I feel like Krupi might be one of the players you want to potentially look at. Hmm. Oh, this is the thing. Rodgers was so good for 5 million because you didn't care if he blanked. Because what Rodgers will do is have these long spells where he will blank. Like he will just go off the radar, won't get any points, and you'll just be like, oh, it's fine because he's 5 million. But now he's more expensive. You're kind of like, well, I need him to be performing for that price. Virgil or Porro on the free hit. I think you take the upside and go Porro, but Virg could still do very, very well. Yeah, this is the thing. It was fine when he was 5 million because you was like, well, I've benched a 5 million player who scored, but I don't feel too bad about it. Now, when you're benching a 7.5 million player and he's getting the scores, then when you put him in, he's blanking. Yeah, don't feel great. Don't feel great, does it? Will Sarr start is the big question. It sounds like Glasner's going to go fairly full strength. So that probably gives me enough confidence to say yes. Again, though, how many minutes will he then play off that? Will it be 60? Will it be 30? Like, it's just one of those, isn't it? I can't confidently say I'm like fully back in Sarr. I mean, it might be one for the coin. It genuinely might be for the coin. Am I going wildcard next week? No, I've not got my wildcard. My wildcard was in 32 with kind of like a setup of 35 in mind. So yeah, that's where my head's at with that one. Looking at the poll, more people prefer Bruno G ahead of Sarr. Yeah, I probably would get him in for Gordon. If I was going to have Gordon, then yeah, I probably would. The model's free hit team value is 104.1. There we go. So that's what my team value is at the moment. I have 104.1 million team value then. So the only thing I would probably say is like you can downgrade some players on the bench. Obviously, we had like Solanke on there and stuff like that. Thiago was on the bench. You could just drop them down to like a 5 million Isidore, for example. Or go even further, like just downgrade one of the spots to Mark Gui if you're really stretched for money. Yeah. At the start of the season when you're like, oh, it's Thiago, he's he's cheap as chips. I don't mind benching him. Now where he is, you're like, I can't really bench him. It's interesting, isn't it? And I think that's definitely something I'm going to take more into next season is not to be so swayed by a player's price. If they score points, they score points. It doesn't matter what value they are. If they score points, that's all that matters at the end of the day. We're not looking for like, you know, my squad to be the most expensive and maximize all my budget. If those players just score points, they score points. Please give me another defender on the free hit, but not Porro or Virgil or Gabriel. Probably a Sunderland defender or Mavropanos would be the ones. Keane or Tarkowski. I think Keane could be great value for the remainder of the season. He really could. Which midfielder would you recommend to get this week apart from Bruno F? Sobo, Rice, Elliot Anderson could still do a fine job. I'm looking at Bruno Guimaraes. Not the greatest fixture, but longer term, some very good fixtures in there. Do keep your questions coming in. Anything you want to know before the deadline, do let me know. Uh, yeah, I mean that is kind of the thing, isn't it? I think it's also probably sticking with these players that have good points per game. You know what I mean? These guys that when they do play and they have great points per game, you just stick with them. You're not too fussed about the fixture. You're not too like asked about who they are. You just go, he gets points. I'm gonna play him. So for Bournemouth to double, they would need City to win at the weekend against Southampton, and for the Premier League to move that fixture. So then the City don't play like 3 days before the FA Cup. Might happen, might not happen. I personally wouldn't use a transfer on a goalkeeper. I genuinely think there's very limited upside. If I was going to pick one for a 1 week punt, you're probably going like Kinski. This is the thing. This is the psychological thing about this season, isn't it? Is the cheap players are scoring so well, especially like the Mooks and the Casemiros, where you're going, but I should be playing Watkins and Van Dijk, right? Because they're the big names. But you know, these cheaper guys do just score exceptionally well. Which teams will double? Right, Manchester City are definitely doubling. Yeah, blind fixtures I definitely don't think is the way. I am since making the points per game model, you just see how like these players that are the players that keep hitting the big points like consistently throughout the season do it every single like most weeks. Like they're not fixture dependent, are they? They just turn up. Like, yeah, you will get sometimes targeting the better fixtures. But sometimes you will get it in a period where you just go, right, this player turns up every single week. It doesn't matter who he's playing, he just continues to turn up. Yeah, yeah. Personally not looking at Okafor. I know he's been like obviously banging the goals in and getting decent points. But yeah, for me personally, I'm not looking at Okafor. I probably would go Xavi and Gibbs White. I'm not really feeling the love. If you go to there's a section in the Discord server. So if you go into the Discord, right, and then go to FPL Tom's model, and go to the pin chat in there. So if you click on it and then click to pins, it's the top pin chat, and it looks something like that. And then there's a link to the Google Doc. All then you have to do, download the Google Doc. It will then take you to the thing, and you can mess around and you can filter whatever you want to filter. Hopefully that clears things up for you. Hopefully. Where is the love? Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, I am obviously here for you. Try and help you as best as I can. Oh, 100%, 100%. Hi. Less Palmer-shaped holes. Fully. Raya or Kinski on the free hit. I personally would probably go Raya. But if you are looking to attack that fixture, then of course the Wolves game could be pretty decent for that. Yeah, I definitely think if you played EFL Fantasy this season, their point scoring system was in a first season they launched. It was in quite a similar place to FPL, where it was kind of like very, very like you get your defenders, they hit DEFCON, or like it was like clearances. So everyone was just playing like a back three. That's kind of how the game worked. Everyone was just playing back threes. That was it. That was the game. And then this season they've updated it. So the midfielders get points for, distributing the ball or creating key opportunities or getting interceptions. The forwards get them for shots on target. They also get points for scoring hat tricks. Like there's so much then that rewards the game, where then you can kind of mix up your team structure a little bit. And I think that's a good route for FPL to go. The problem is it does lean more into models. The more stats you add, the more it is harder for like the average person to read those stats. Whereas a model can go, this player's great at these things. That's why we'll put him in here. This player takes these and has these and has these, and we can put him in here. That's the only downside. So it probably will become a little bit more model-y, templatey. That's the only thing I would say off the back of that. But it is a much more exciting scoring system. But again, comes with its caveats. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline? Obviously, we'll be here for probably about another hour or so-ish. We have just hit 28.1k subscribers, so thank you very much. Really do appreciate the continued support on the channel. Like I said, anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. Yeah, I probably should start playing Sun because I obviously play Champions League Fantasy, so I know some of the players. I loaded in Sun last year, however, I didn't I've just not had the time to continue with it. Maybe I might build my own model for it and we'll go off that and play points per game again. Maybe, yeah. Rice or Watkins to get a better point haul. It's so difficult to say, isn't it? Because Rice, I think, is probably the name that I would lean towards because his points per game are just better. So as an average, I would expect Rice to score better than I would Watkins. But at the same time, because Watkins is a striker, he could go off, he could do well. But I'm just not feeling that fixture in the early kickoff either. Captaincy options for this game week, I probably would be looking at like, who would I go for? Captaincy options, I probably would go like Bruno's number 1, Salah's number 2, Gabriel's probably number 3. That's probably where my head would be at. Emery's press conference is coming up as well, so we'll try and obviously keep you across it. Newcastle fans are not confident ahead of this one. Do they usually do Newcastle? I feel like the Jump the Wave ones do usually do Newcastle. Yeah, they do. Cool. We'll wait for the Jump the Wave ones. Bowen, Solanke, Watkins, choose 2. I'm going to go Bowen and Solanke. Those would be the 2 I would go for. Mane, I probably wouldn't even look at. There's been apparently rumors of him falling out with certain players and stuff. There was a bit of a scrap or something behind the scenes. Probably wouldn't risk it. Yeah, probably wouldn't risk it. Not for me anyway. Yeah, I probably just, like I said, would avoid it. I think that's the easiest play for it, isn't it? Probably more tempted with Anderson than Chow. I think Newcastle obviously go into a decent run of fixtures after this game week. So Chow actually might be an all right option to maybe consider longer term as well. Oh, big decisions to be made. Big decisions to be made. Any transfer plans for me? Yeah, so Rice is potentially coming in for Semenyo. Then I guess we've got Saar to debate on what we do here. And next week we'll look to bring in Cherky. So yeah, this is kind of where my head is at with that one. Kind of where my head is at. Obviously, the transfers that we would make this week would be Bruno G, hence the poll in the chat. And it would be Rice. So it would be 2 players who are very, very good for points per game. Rice has been pretty underwhelming in recent weeks, but he can hit those big, steady scores. How far? I thought he hit DEFCON in the last game. Was I mistaken? One off DEFCON. But he can hit. He can hit. Did he hit against Newcastle earlier in the season? Hit Defcon. And I do think he is just probably the most nailed Arsenal attacker. And then we got Bruno G again, another just beast for points per game. Oh, what to do, man? What to do? What to do? For me, I probably would chuck like Thiago and Watkins on the bench, and I'd probably also be tempted to chuck Casemiro on the bench. I probably would go Xavi and Gibbs White for the two there. By the way, we only need 9 more people to help today's stream get up to 100 likes. So if you are enjoying the content, make sure you are hitting that like button. It really is appreciated. I mean, sometimes you got to trust your gut. Other times, I think I probably would just, leave it. I personally wouldn't go free up front. I'm not a big fan of the free up front this week. It's just not for me. My free hit has been pending for a good while. What do you mean pending? Have you made any moves? If you've got to make the transfers for the free hit to become active. Otherwise, it won't work. Rodgers versus Gibbs White. Let's bring up my model. See what we're saying, because we're getting a lot of people ask me about like different players' points and stuff like that. So we've got Rodgers and we got Gibbs White. So we got Rodgers and Gibbs White. I think both of these guys are kind of similar in terms of profile and very, very similar, it seems, in terms of projections for this game week. I believe they're running quite similar in terms of points per game as well, because they're not players who have, like, say, out and out set piece share. They've got like the occasional free kick. That's about it. But they do have talismanic profiles where if a team, you know, Aston Villa or Forest usually scores, those two kind of do have something to usually do with it. So that's probably how I would look at it. I probably would go KDH ahead of Mavropanos, in my opinion. Yeah, I probably would. We have just hit over 100 likes on today's stream. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate everybody who obviously interacts with the streams, likes it, comments, all that good stuff. You are the best. Keep Saw, his record is great. I flipped my own coin earlier. Nice. Yeah, we'll have a coin flip. We'll have a coin flip. But obviously, past records don't determine future outputs. Do remember that, guys. How did you develop the model, Tom? There's a guy called FPL Marcello who is very good at this. He also has his own model. And basically, I just asked him, I was like, how do you build this? And he said, it's a simple points per game. So taking the players' points per game. So all you do for that is their points divided by the amount of games that they play. And then you use a fixture multiplier. So if it's, say, a green at home fixture, it will be, I can't remember what the exact numbers are, but like 1.1 times their points per game. That then gives you the number. Obviously, it's then like blended with historical data. So we've got all of last season's points per game factored into that, with a nuance looking more at this season's rather than last season's. But yeah, that's all it is. It's just a gentle points per game model. Oh, just slung my phone on the floor. So yeah, there you go. I probably would go Verge. Yeah, Newcastle have been pretty bad lately. They have been pretty bad lately. What are people saying on Saw's slightly leading on Twitter, Bruno G slightly leading on YouTube. Tight one. I do think it will be one for the coin to decide. Should we do the coin flip? Or do we wait for the jump the wave predictions to come in first? Because they're the ones I'm waiting for the jump the wave predictions. They should give us like I'd say a decent understanding of who the Newcastle ones are. Kinski, or I'd probably go Kinski. The problem with your team, Louis, I saw you sent it in the chat, is Benjamin Sesko up front. Get that out. Glasner has confirmed he will go full strength. For how long, though? If they're getting battered, does he just take a few players off? Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It is one of those. Do we go Bruno G, or do we go stick with Saar? I think that's my final decision for the week, really, isn't it? Stick with Saar or go Bruno G is the decision I've got to make, ultimately. So yeah, there we go. I think we'll wait for the jump the wave predictions before we do anything. We'll see what Bruno's like. If he's in 100% of the predictions, that's fine. That ticks that off. If there's any sort of doubt, I think we go with Saar. For me, mate, you just go Bruno captain. Don't overthink it this week. Yeah, Porro's a good 1 week punt. He's probably up there, isn't he? Dango or Van der Ven? You probably go Van der Ven given the fixture. Mook or Verge? You probably go Verge if you want to trust my model. It's gone with Mook, but I don't mind Verge. I don't mind Verge. Gabriel or Danzo? Gabriel, 100%. Oh, mate, if you had him last week, you would be absolutely buzzing, wouldn't you? You would be buzzing. I honestly couldn't say. Well, again, we'll wait to see if we get the jump the wave predictions. As soon as we get them, we can start, I would say, working on some stuff. Do I have any friends who support Arsenal? I actually do, yes. Is this my final team? No, definitely not. Not locked in at all. Definitely not at all. Going Enzo over Gross killed me. 12-point loss. I went Vifa over Gross. So yeah, imagine how I feel. Imagine how I feel. Like it's a bit like 2 weeks in a row where we've had pretty big swings go against us. So yeah, doesn't feel great. Really doesn't feel great. Oh, 100%. 100%. They can smell it. They can smell it. Oh, I went Gomez over both. Yeah, I mean, Gomez was another one, wasn't he? Like, I feel like there was a good few that people were looking at last week in terms of it. Hinselwood as well. Like, I know he scored in the second game, but even still, it was quite a big gap between it. Matoma, Minter, like, again, there was so swingy. Very, very swingy. Feel like people went Enzo. I went I like the Ampadu pick. By the way, I love Ampadu now for what he did for me last week. That was unbelievable. We picked him just because I thought he might get DEFCON in both games. Maybe hope an attack and return against Wolves. Did it in the Bournemouth game. What a legend. So yeah, we take that every day of the week, I guess. We take that every day of the week. Yeah, unfortunately you can't help it sometimes. Like I said, very just swingy sometimes when you get situations like that where this is what I mean. We can plan and we can prep all we like, but a player could go down in the first few minutes. And then what are you doing? You know? So that's sometimes the way the game goes, isn't it? Is you can do all this planning, you can do all this prep, but ultimately sometimes the game does just fall on its arse a little bit. Yeah. I personally would probably just play with 10. Goalkeepers very rarely score like big double-digit hauls, so I think you could probably get away with it. Oh, Ampadu is fully like Hall of Fame level now. I've bought a 1 of 50 Ampadu Topps Chrome cards from this season. So over this side of my room, I've got a what's it called? Like a unit, and I've got obviously like some cool cards on there and stuff. I can show you one day. Like obviously the EFL Eternity brought out loads. I'm a Mansfield fan, so I've got all the 1 of 5s. I'm trying to get hold of some 1 of 1s. It's hard because people are idiots that are selling them. But we've obviously got some like I've started getting some like legends for FPL to like look back and remember them on. So we've got who've we got? We've got Mbuemo and Vissa from like a few seasons ago. If obviously you were part of last season, you know those guys were big parts of why we did so well. Trying to get a Bowen because this channel's built on Bowen. And then yeah, finally got an Ampadu because of what he did. We also managed to pick up an Nico Riley rookie card as well. So yeah, it was great. Yeah, sometimes that's just the way FPL unfortunately goes. You get people that haven't done anything in yonks, and then they do something. Man, Ampadu, I've got, like I said, I've got a soft spot for Ampadu now. I've got a soft spot for him. I do love him. I genuinely do love Ampadu. Danzo or Virgil? I probably would go Danzo on that one, mate. Probably would go Danzo on that one. Oh, mate, Bowen. I love the guy. I can't believe it's taken me this long to get Bowen in there. Personally, wouldn't go with Cunha on a free hit. Yeah, personally wouldn't go for the Cunha one. Oh, Ampadu's giant throw. It was glorious. It really was. Raya or Roofs? Depends if you've got a Sunderland defender. If you've got no coverage, maybe could be nice to go for Roofs. Top for this week on my model for projected points. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, bow, bow. Da, da. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Bow, 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 bow. Casemiro or De Hall? Casemiro. By the way, Bruno Fernandes has gone top for points per game this season at 6.63. Then we've got Haaland at 6.625, Gabriel at 6.5. Then it's quite a big drop off all the way down to Semenyo at 5.6. Then we've got Bruno Guimaraes at 5.6, Rice at 5.2, Munoz, João Pedro, Mark Gahey, Thiago, Dewsbury Hall, Harry Wilson, Urian Timber, Saka surprisingly on there, O'Reilly, Nunes, Bowen, love it, Gvardiol, Salah, Casemiro, what a shout, Lacroix, Mook, Gibbs White, Stack, Palmer, Rogers, Virgil, Tark, and Buemo. So yeah, some big names in there. Some big names in there indeed. Do I like Eze on the free hit? If he's in the jump the wave predictions, yes. If not, no. All night, all night. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Late to live, sorry for that. What recommend for free hit chip to play? This is your team. Yeah, I'm not on the free hit for this game week. This is the transfer plans I've currently got. So Semenyo and Saar out for potentially just Rice for Semenyo, but we also then might do some other moves as well. No, then there'll be the moves for the following week. So hang on a second. Is there a world where we can do Rice, Bruno? How much have I got in the bank? 1.1. Can we go and get... Oh my God. There's a world where I could have this. I mean, I don't even hate that for next week. I don't even hate that, you know. Because then we'd have Cunha with Sunderland away, Bruno with Sunderland away. I really, really like that as a look as well. Because we'd be fine to, like, bench Cunha. I do like that. I do like that. It's all dependent, right? It is just if I think Saar scores this week, isn't it? Tempted to play Eze over Rice to increase goal difference. I can see that. I can see that. I can definitely see that being a strategy that people go for. Like I said, we're just waiting for the jump the wave predictions really now. And then yeah, we'll I guess we'll just go from there really. Once we get the jump the wave ones in. No, I've got 2 free transfers. Got 2 free transfers. This isn't for a minus. We've got the 2 frees. So yeah. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything that you want to know. I think we usually do. We usually get the jump the wave ones before. So yeah, we should do. How have I got 2 frees? I didn't make a transfer game week 30. Didn't make a transfer in game week 30 or 31. So that's how I've got 2 free transfers. Whatever the last blank game week was, I can't remember which one it was. But yeah. I would personally have Gibbs White, Thiago Bowen. That would probably be the 3 I would go for out of those ones there. Yeah, that's the 3 I probably would select. Like I said, we'll try and Bowen all the way, mate. Bowen all the way. Bowen all the way. What do you want to know, mate? What do you want to know? Charlie's locked in over on my on the FPL cartel. Love to see it. Had a few new members as well. So if you are in the chat and you have become a member of the cartel, thank you for joining. Really is appreciated, guys, as always. Like I said, obviously it's a side venture. Me and Tom are building up this year, and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying it. Yes, you man with the question marks. What do you want to know? Come on, Jacob. What do you want to know? Gabriel, Mook, Virgil probably would be 3 I would be looking at. Ballard could also be a great shout. Porro could also be a decent shout. There's 5. I personally would go Virgil van Dijk, but Model prefers Ballard. Model does prefer Ballard. We'll have a look at some Meerkat predictions if we don't get the jump the wave ones in a minute. Obviously, I'm hoping that we do, because that would be ideal. But we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Let's head over to Twitter then. By the way, if you don't already, make sure you are following FPL Meerkat. This is his Arsenal predicted side. So we have got Hincapié, Hincapié could be a decent one. Reyes, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz in there. I've seen a people like suggesting going Gyok. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Villa, we've got Watkins, Rogers, Tielemans, Brentford, Thiago, no real shock there. Palace, Saar, but like with a, questionable one. Everton, Beto has been ruled out, so that one won't be correct. Keane, though, I do suspect will probably be back in, and Die if you do fancy going for that. Fulham, I don't think anyone's got from. Liverpool, obviously, Gakpo, Salah, Isak, Sobo. United, Bruno, Ahmad. No Cunha in this, which is interesting. But again, we'll get the jump the wave ones and have a look. Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes is there. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Gibbs White's in the Forest one. Same with Elliot Anderson. Diarra could be a good shout for free hit as a bit of a differential. Spurs, Solanke, Xavi, Danzo, Pedporo. Bowen in that one. And yeah, there you go. Woodman for Liverpool, I'm unsure of. Yeah, Woodman for sure. Do keep your questions coming in. Like I said, guys, we'll stay alive for a little bit longer. We'll see if we get the jump the wave ones. We're definitely doing Rice to Semenyo, I think. Yeah, it says 90% on that graphic, but apparently Allison might be a late call on him. Danzo for Defcon ahead of Van de Ven, 100%. You could even go ahead of Porro if you really wanted to. How did my free hit go on in 33? Decent. To say I was always expecting to get a red because we were playing against, people with 15 players. Obviously, Pedro, Porro, Gabriel getting 0 meant that we were still only taking on 13. We got pretty much like a 7k green arrow, I think, in the end. So not the worst. If we'd have just selected Gross ahead of Vifa, it would have been a mega green last week. So unfortunately, again, very tight decisions that are just ultimately like undermining our season, really. That's really it, isn't it? It is just small things for me that are just like kind of undermining the season a little bit. I got 101 in the end. The model team scored 108. Be interesting to see what it does this game week if it outperforms a lot of managers. Yeah. We will have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. We'll probably go till like 4. If we don't get the jump the wave predictions, I will probably just do the Rice move for now. And then we'll just wait and see on the jump the wave ones. And then go from there. I'll post my team obviously in the Discord group first. If not, then I'll post it afterwards on thingy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're doing the Rice move. We've now just got to wait and obviously see on the predictions. Like, I don't want to bring in obviously Isaac and then he's not in the squad. That wouldn't be ideal, would it? That one was FPL Meerkats. But I prefer the jump the wave ones because you get like 5 or 6 different predictors and then they give you like a overall percentage. So that for me is the better one. Oh mate, Ampadu, what a boy. But yeah, Truffair was one of the model picks last week. Truffair was on the model pick for last week. And he looked really good. Like, he could have easily come away with a big haul. If Bournemouth do get that double in 36, I'm tempted to go him ahead of Hill and Senesi. He feels like he could just go nuclear at any moment. He really does. He really, really does. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline. Obviously, we are here to help you guys answer your questions. For me personally and my team, I am just waiting for those jump the wave predictions. No, I think we're going to do Rice, Semenyo to Rice this week. The next question is then do we do Bruno G in or do we leave it and play Sar? Hence the poll on the stream. Suddenly, I'm the FPL expert. I don't know. I'm betting on Sunderland clean sheet this game week. Massively should go for Cunha. I personally wouldn't go for Cunha, like if he's not in some of the predictions as well. I'm bored of this guy. Get him out of here. Let's get him out of here. Thoughts on a 4-4-3? Like I said, we had this discussion earlier in the stream. I'm not that big on I'm not that big on the strikers for me personally. I'm just not that big on them. Yeah, Ballard's been benched on the last few games as well, but I think he'll be back in for this one. How many points did I get last week? I got 101. I will be selling Saw and Semenyo if I went for these two moves here. Yes. Having 4 players in one game, what could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong, eh? Thoughts on Verts over Gakpo? I'm not a bigger fan of either. I probably personally would go for Sobo. Yeah, I probably would prefer to go for Soboslai. Danzo versus Mavropanos versus Mook. All are great options this week. All can hit defensive contributions as well. So yeah, all are very, very good options this week that could do decent. Yeah, so I'll be then going I could either go Elliot Anderson for Cherky or I could go Cunha for Cherky. That is the option then we've got ourselves. Or we could go Mateus Nunes. Like that's also another option is we could then go Mateus Nunes in defense. So, you know, it does leave that City spot available. Also, we could go back into Semenyo. It could be Cunha back into Semenyo if Semenyo looks good. Like, you know what I mean? If he looks good in the FA Cup and I go, I've made a mistake here, we've got to go back and get, you know, Semenyo, that's also an option. But I think his form's just dropped off recently and his points per game are dropping. Cunha's the other way around where his is coming up. His underlying data is looking really good as well. And he seems to be the spark at the moment for City as well. So that's why I want to try and have a route to Turkey. I personally wouldn't want cash. I think I would rather have Mavropanos. I probably would have Salah on a free hit. Yeah, I think he probably would be a lock. Across like every single model, he is like top. I do think Saar starts. I just can't guarantee what sort of minutes he gets. Like if Liverpool go 3-0 up in the first half, what's to say that Glasner goes, right, this game's done. I'm prioritizing everybody for Europe. So Sar's coming off, you know, Mateta's coming off if he starts the game, maybe some of the defenders as well. What's to stop that happening? I mean, yeah, Liverpool are also crap. Liverpool are also crap. So maybe Palace do get something out of that game. Who knows? Saar does have a great record against Liverpool as well. That is the other thing that, of course, goes against this strategy is Saar. So, you know, it's kind of one of those, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to do a coin flip on it. Bruno G is going to be heads. Tails is going to be Saar, okay? That is the coin's decision to make today. Is it going to be Bruno G or is it going to be Saar? Like I said, I'm still going to wait for the jump the way predictions, see what numbers Bruno G's at, see what numbers Cunha's at as well, because that could also influence a few things and maybe change up some things. If Cunha comes in at like 0, then I maybe think we've probably got to maybe move him on. I don't know. We'll see. Right. Heads, Bruno G. Tails is going to be Saar. Okay? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's chosen Saar. It's chosen Saar. The holy coin has chosen Saar. So we'll, you know, like I said, we'll wait for the predictions. We'll see what it's saying. Pascal Gross is probably not like a pick you want now because he's not got a game this week. Obviously, they've got some nice fixtures to end the season, but they've probably the main period where you were going to buy him has kind of gone. For me, it probably would be Ndai, Xavi, Wilson, that order. Crazy coin. I know, but doing the opposite of the coin this season has kind of been the play. We run through the predicted lineups. Like I said, we're just going to wait and see if we get the jump the wave ones. If not, then we'll probably end the stream in a minute. Because I kind of need a wee. And we've been going for 3 hours. All hail the mighty coin. There it is. It is chosen Saar. Make of that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. Really do make of that what you will. I've seen Gakpo in pretty much most of the starting lineups I've seen. No, this isn't my final team. Thing is with Gordon, I don't know if Gordon's ever going to play for Newcastle again. They're saying it's an injury. Okay? I personally think Gordon will probably not play again for Newcastle. I would say as long as you're picking players that have those multiple routes to points, then you can't really ask for too much more. If you've got someone in there that you're like, I'm not 100% on, maybe have a look around as well. See what other players you've got. And I'd also say question players that are in everyone's drafts, right? Question them and think, is that player going to do well? Like we had João Pedro, we had Palmer last week that were in everybody's team, did nothing. Is there maybe a player that you're looking at and going, I'm not really feeling him, and I don't think he's going to do that well? If he's got low effective ownership, maybe it could be worth just taking that gamble and taking them on. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not bothered about Saka. Surprisingly enough, I'm not actually bothered about Saka. Yeah. I have a feeling Mbeumo will go huge. Fair enough. Fair enough if that's how you're feeling. If that is how you're feeling. Right, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. Like I said, I've done 3 hours today, just over 3 hours, so we are going to leave it there. I need the toilet as well, so I'm going to go to the toilet. I'll post my team in the Discord if you're in there. Obviously, the FPL cartel, make sure you're getting yourself in there. Otherwise, I will post it on X before we obviously get the deadline itself. But other than that, guys, I think we're going to leave things there. Like I said, thank you very much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it, as always. Thank you very much. And yeah, best of luck this game week, ladies and gentlemen.